I told my sons I wish I never gave birth to them. I don't regret it. I don't feel bad. I don't care how many times you come to my door to apologize. I let them and their father bully me for years, call me all kinds of names. How they reject every present I ever bought them because it wasn't brand new or super expensive, despite me having to go hungry sometimes to even afford what I could get them. I come to their father's house one day to say happy birthday. They ignore me. I tried to give them a hug. I got pushed away. Their father told me to stop annoying them on their 16th birthday, for God's sake. I got them both Nintendo Switches for their birthday, and I set my carefully wrapped present on a table and they opened it last. When they saw it, they said, "Really? That's it?" I looked confused and asked what was wrong. Was it a color this time? Or maybe they expected games too? No one freaking plays Nintendo, you freaking dinosaur. They said dinosaur. You guys never text me. I didn't know what you wanted, and I know you broke the one you shared, so I got you both your own, I told them. They set the presents I had to starve myself for on the table, and everyone went inside for the cake. I finally realized they don't care. They really don't care. Why it took me years to realize, I don't know. But I do know. I took the switches and headed for the door. Their dad stopped me in front of everyone and said, "Hey, where are you going? You're leaving your kids on their birthday? Let her go. It won't make a difference," one of my boys said. Everyone laughed. Everyone freaking laughed. I started to tear up, and my son's aunt told me to stop being a big baby and hold the phone for pictures. I got angry and I yelled, in front of everyone, "I hate you. I hate you all. I'm tired of this family mistreating me, using my trauma against me, making me feel freaking small because I'm not rich and spoiled. I've done nothing but love this family. But because I'm built like a child, I can't sit with the adults. No one came to my birthday, so why should I be here? No one cares about me, but y'all won't bat an eye if I freaking died, would you?" Then I looked my boys dead in their eyes and said, "I hate you both too. I wish I never freaking had you." Ran out to my car and left, then I blocked them all. The next day, I heard a knock on my door and saw my kid's father. He begged me to come to his house and talk to our kids. He says they're so sorry. Yet I've never heard this come out of their mouths, so I'm not interested. That was 3 days ago, and ever since, he comes to my door and asks me to forgive them. But I won't. Don't think I can. I'm sorry for any errors. I'm kinda shaken up. Their father left an hour ago, so it's still on my mind. Now for the top comments. Screw them, and a father who probably modeled this behavior and let them get away with it for years. Drop the rope. Don't spend another dime on them. Don't give them the time of day. They made their choice. They can learn to freaking live with consequences. I'm so sorry for everything they've put you through. You didn't deserve any of it. I definitely recommend therapy to help you come to terms with what they did and move on for your own sake. Thank you very much, I will. Only reason I stayed for so long is because they were my boys, my only kids. I truly believe they will one day change, but I will not be there to witness it. I tried already. Don't set yourself on fire to keep them warm. What an awful family. Freaking agreed. I know that kids can be a-holes. When I was a kid, the idea that my mom would occasionally work double shifts or go hungry to save money just to buy me and my sister something nice just did not enter my head until embarrassingly late. Man, did I feel embarrassed in my early 20s when it finally fully sunk in just how much my parents sacrificed for me and my sister. So OP, if it helps, unless they are complete psychopaths, just remember that they will recall their attitude and cringe when they're older. Cringe hard. In my case, I called my mom and told her everything I appreciated about her and apologized for being an a-hole in my teens. That being said, it's a small comfort right now. Just remember that there are people on this very website who would kill to have a mother like you. It's BS that this ever even happened without another family member stepping in to teach them how to behave appropriately. Ungrateful little turds I can forgive, but husband and other relatives who couldn't say even, "Your mom worked very hard for this. What did you buy her?" is something else. Edit. Also, if this has been going on for years as you said, your rant is completely deserved and on point. I cannot believe that their dad watched this for years and ignored it. If we were in that other sub, I'd say everyone sucks here except OP. Your kids are brats, and I don't know if they did not grow up with you, but they don't know what respect is because no one teach them or educate them. So if they don't love you because you don't give them expensive gifts, then they don't deserve your love. Sorry. And the one should be at your door is them, not their father. Don't contact them until they apologize and really mean it. Thank you. No, they didn't grow up with me. Me and their father agreed they will live with him when they were born because I didn't have the money to take care of them. Me and their father broke up because he hit me, and I had enough sense to leave. I was already pregnant too. He was either mad at me for leaving him or he told them something. I don't know, but they never really liked me, but only recently started acting like bullies when they were 13 to 14. Now for the comment from the aunt. Do not believe her BS. I am the sister of the father in the post and all of this is a lie and this is not how this went down. Mia, stop lying on my family. You know this is not true, hence why you deleted your account. I'm trying to upload my side but the sub is not letting me. But please believe me, she's lying. How do we know you're not lying? Give us what you think is the truth. Well, for one, my brother never hit her. He held her down because she was losing her mind in my house. She's very mentally unstable. It's also why we told her we were gonna fight for custody for the boys, but she didn't want to fight. So we agreed she would visit. So did the kids complain about the gift? No, they were very happy. They said thank you and moved on. She was upset she wasn't the center of attention for longer and they didn't kiss her boots or something and freaked out. Now for the post from the daughter that was never mentioned in the original post about what truly transpired titled, I hate my mom and how she convinced thousands of people that she's the victim. I, 23, female, am no longer in contact with my mom, Jane, because of fears of mistreatment, manipulation, fear-mongering, and hatred. I was conceived through a one-night stand. Jane couldn't get in contact with the guy and so carried and raised me as a single mother until she met someone. And God did she let me know about it. She made sure to tell me how unwanted, unlovable, and disgusting I was. She admitted to neglecting me as an infant and toddler, and how she would essentially have screaming matches with me. When I was 5, she met William and they fell in love. They got married within a year, and William adopted me after his twin sons, John and Oscar, 16 male, were born. I was 7. Their relationship moved very fast and I believe it caused a lot of turmoil. I truly believe the pregnancy was to trap William, but that is speculation and opening a whole can of worms. During the pregnancy, Jane would have tantrums about having twins. How she only wanted one and how she'd only love the first one that came out. This was a new side to her that William hadn't seen before and he shut it down quickly. Well, she kept her promise and only gave attention to Oscar. John was completely neglected by her other than to feed. She had intense postpartum depression and that's not her fault. But what is how she handled it. She refused to get help and claimed PPD/postpartum psychosis is for insane and bad mothers. At some points when the boys were a year or so old, she was admitted into hospital for having intense thoughts about hurting herself or others. She was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and PPP. She spent 5 months in a hospital/a mental health facility. For those 5 months she was gone, I have never felt so much love from another person in my life. Bearing in mind, I was just 8, and all I had known was yelling and emotional abuse. When she got out, both sides of the family had a big sit-down and told her their expectations. It was all doable. Go to therapy, take her meds, and they made her a list of emergency contacts who she could call if she was feeling it all a bit too much. She had a support system in place, but she didn't use it. We moved out when William got home and found me at age 11 trying to cook dinner for my brothers. Except Jane had turned the gas and electric off as punishment. Jane had locked herself in the bathroom and wouldn't come out because John was upset. Remember, she hates John. She had also thrown a ton of stuff around in a fit of rage because I said she probably shouldn't take Oscar to the shop if she can't walk straight. William packed our stuff up and we left for his mother's. Jane was not happy about that. When he found out she had thrown objects around and at me, he was furious. He filed for divorce the following Monday. The court gave him full custody with mandated visitations from Jane. I remember crying myself to sleep when I found that out. We moved out of Grandma's house and into a nice flat where we seemed to get our life together. Other than the visitation, we were good. Until William got a new job and we had to move across the city. This set Jane off, who up until this point had been on mostly good behavior. We moved closer to William's sister and her family. They all knew about Jane, and was on a contact list. But we all tried to move forward. Things were good for a couple of years, but then I turned 16. The day after my 16th, I got a text from Jane telling me that she's moving out and that I need to pack up my stuff from my old room. I went, stupidly, and began putting things into piles. Jane just stood in the doorway and eventually began bawling her eyes out. She began apologizing for everything she had done and how she feels like a failure. This is when she told me about the emotional and verbal maltreatment she inflicted on me as an infant/toddler and how she blames herself for my numerous mental health issues. This was all leading up to her asking if I could ever forgive her. I said no. I said that she may feel guilty, but she's stuck in this cycle where she has harmed the boys as well. She lost her freaking mind and kicked me out. It got a little physical between us, and she ended up screaming that I'm no longer her daughter and how she's disowning me. When I got home, I told William everything. He was furious too and went to her place and arrived back home hours later with our stuff. I don't know what went down, and I don't want to. We filed a police report as I had scrapes and bruises and her mandated visits were lifted. A weight had been lifted off my shoulders. It was like this black cloud of negativity had finally eased up. I felt so much happier. I began to focus on school and my family without dreading having to see her. We couldn't get a restraining order, but she kept her distance. She would send birthday and Christmas cards, but we never reciprocated. The boys know a bit about what went down, but William was very frugal with what he told them. He said he didn't want to inflict unnecessary emotional damage onto them. Then on their 16th, she shows up, which was weird because she never shows up to anything. I kept my distance and stayed in the kitchen, but I could still see and hear everything. I was shaking in fear and had to run to the bathroom at one point. She had bought them both Nintendo Switches. They both opened her presents last and both quietly thanked her. There were no insults being thrown around. No one said, "Let her go, it won't make a difference." The atmosphere was stifling. In fact, it was Jane who yelled and insulted first. She called the twins ungrateful brats, and the second she stood up to yell, William and Auntie began to push her outside. As she was being pushed, she points at the twins and yelled, "You're both freaking ungrateful, unlovable little C-words, and my biggest regret is not terminating you when I had a chance." The party was naturally ruined at this point, and the boys are both totally emotionally destroyed. William left at one point to go and talk to her because she had blocked William, the only one who has her number, but I don't know the specifics. It's been a few weeks since the incident, and the boys are both destroyed. Oscar has become a recluse, and John isn't eating. I'm furious. I'm sorry for making this so long. I'm just so mad, traumatized, and upset by the whole thing. Edit. Hi everyone. I'm just popping in to clarify some things that I've been receiving in my DMs and questions in the cross posts. Because yes, I do read them. 1. I do have a Reddit account, but I only use it to post Sims 4 content and I'm only subscribed/following subs of the games I play. A second year of uni has also been kicking my butt, and so I haven't been online as much. I know her post got a lot of traction, but I didn't see it. Plus, it got deleted so it's not going to pop up on suggested sub posts Reddit is pushing. 2. I did hear about my mother's post from the THT podcast, hence the weird timing. 3. I have zero ill will towards anyone who sympathized with my mother as they were going off her original post. I've gotten many people DMing me about it, and I just wanted to say that I totally understand why anyone reading the original post would think, what an awful family. It did suck to read everyone siding with her, but there was literally no reason to be mad as that's all the info they had. Obligatory thanks for the support comment. I will be logging out now for my own sake. Now for the last story. My 31 female husband, 33 male, wants me to cut contact with my sister, 28 female, because she cheats. My husband just dropped this on me. I am totally clueless about the whole situation and I am not even sure how I'm feeling right now. The following is a count from my husband and I have yet to verify anything. Months ago, my husband bumped into my sister's fiancé. Let's call him Mark, 29 to 30 male, not sure. They were not particularly close, but they know each other. My husband was coming to pick me up for a date, and Mark was surprised because my sister told him she was hanging out with me. This set off an alarm with both of them. I have to provide some clarity before the next part. Both me and my sister moved to the same city for a job. Our parents are back in our hometown. So both of us are very close and spend a lot of time together. Sometimes my sister would just show up after work and we will go for a drink or do something. Then at one point, my sister told Mark she was going to hang out with me again. My husband nonchalantly mentioned it and thought we would be hanging out instead of my sister. I didn't think much of it since my sisters sometimes do just show up. I ended up calling my sister to say I would be hanging out with my husband and ask her not to come if she plans to. My husband and Mark take this as I was helping to cover for my sister. They then checked both mine and my sister's phone. Of course, my husband found nothing on mine, but Mark found some suggestive texts. They hired a personal investigator to follow both me and my sister, and they caught my sister went to hotel with a guy multiple times. Back to now, I'm really angry. I felt like my husband can't trust me at all, but the circumstances seems reasonable. I asked him why he didn't talk to me. He said if I know, my sister will know and they wouldn't be able to get any evidence. You know what? I'm angry that he is probably right. I will definitely talk to my sister if I had known and talk her out of it. My husband now wants me to cut contact with my sister because he said we are too close and will be a bad influence. Our relationship will be over if he found out I'm helping my sister. My sister has been my support when I'm going through hardship. Now that she's going through a problem, I can't imagine not being there. I also hate that I know I should be angry with my sister rather than my husband, but I just don't. Advice? Now for the top advice. 1. Your sister's problem is self-induced. 2. She used you for cover, clearly not caring about collateral. And now she's risking a divorce from her husband, who seems to be a reasonable person who values honor, fidelity, and the sacred nature of marriage, because her sister is someone who doesn't value those things. And even though Opie was in the dark, she doesn't seem to care that the sister used her for deception and involved Opie's husband by extension. He probably also feels used and dirty because the sister told her husband that she was hanging out with both of them. You're in an awful position and there isn't a great choice. But is this? You can only continue having a relationship with one of them. Do you choose the person who thinks marriage is important or the person who doesn't think it's important? I think the choice will reveal how different or similar you are to your sister. Good point. Getting Opie involved without asking them or them even knowing shows a huge lack of concern for Opie's well-being and relationship. It feels like she doesn't care if her marriage goes down as long as Opie's marriage does too. Opie seems pretty clear in her post that she isn't really that bothered by the cheating. Of course, my sister has my support when she is going through a hardship. Yeah, that's why your husband thinks you support cheaters.